As a fashion journalist, I find there is nothing more satisfying than a reliably well-dressed celebrity, and Gwyneth Paltrow, who turns 45 today, is one of them. Save for a temporary blip some years ago, more on that later, the actress has maintained a stellar red carpet record throughout her career. Remarkably, even looking back at her first public appearances in the mid-90s, when she was engaged to Brad Pitt, throws up some fashion gems, namely a red velvet Gucci trouser suit worn to the 1996 MTV Awards that would look just as good today as it did then. Sure, with a body honed by Tracy Anderson and years of following a macrobiotic diet, nope, still don't know what that really means. Crystal clear Hollywood skin and blonde locks that never look less than glossy, it would be easy to assume that she'd look good in sack. And she probably would. But she looks better than good, she looks amazing. So, what's her secret? Paltrow has benefited enormously from the era of the uber stylist, stylists that have become well known in their own right for dressing the great and good of Hollywood. She began working with Elizabeth Saltzman, a former fashion editor for Vanity Fair and US Vogue, in 2007, after a run of ill-received outfits. Two that come to mind are looks I wore to the Oscars in 2000 and 2002, she reminisced via her lifestyle site Goop in 2013. The first is the Calvin Klein. It's an okay dress but not Oscars material. I chose it because I wanted to disappear that year. Also, the goth Alexander McQueen I wore a few years later. There were a few issues. I still love the dress itself, but I should have worn a bra and I should have just had simple beachy hair and less makeup. Then, it would have worked as I wanted it to, a little bit of punk at the Oscars. She'd lost her fashion mojo and Saltzman helped her rediscover it. Both looks were a fall from fashion grace after the much-lauded, now iconic candy floss pink Ralph Lauren gown she had worn to the 1999 ceremony, where she picked up the Best Actress Oscar for her role in Shakespeare in Love. That dress had secured her a permanent place in the countless greatest Oscars dresses of all time lists that populate the internet each year ahead of the annual event. But 13 years later, and with Saltzman in her corner, she was back and secured another spot on those same charts thanks to a white-gaped Tom Ford gown. Knowing what a risk that was, it didn't have a sequin or a poof, it had a cape. I wrote all the worst headlines that could possibly come, Saltzman told The Telegraph in April this year. I didn't have a backup dress, there was no other fitting. But that's been remembered every year since. Every Oscars, I turn on to watch E! While we're getting everyone else ready, and it always comes up. The duo did it again at this year's Met Gala. They commissioned a simple white sequin sheath dress by Calvin Klein that echoed one of Paltrow's earliest fashion triumphs, a silk slip dress by the same designer, worn to the same event in 1995. It was a fitting full-circle moment that saw the actress outshine many of the 25 years younger attendees,